Hey guys, welcome to the Truth About Real Estate podcast. Today we're talking with real estate investor and entrepreneur Gary Boomershine. He's the co-founder of Wealth Classes and realestateinvestor.com. His innovative product, REI Vault, provides the people, processes, and technology to solve complex problems for real estate entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, Gary. Glad to have you here.
Awesome, man. Great to be with you. And I know that we've been working to schedule this, but glad to be here at Chat Real Estate, entrepreneur, how to survive COVID as an entrepreneur and everything else, especially since you and I are both in California. Crazy California, right?
Yeah, nice. We're both in the Bay Area right now. And you're in Pleasanton right now, and I'm in San Francisco. So it's kind of cool.
Definitely. Well, it should be fun, man. So I'm going to let you fire away and we'll be good. I'd love for all of you that are following, appreciate you, and hopefully I can deliver some really good content. I've been a real estate investor, entrepreneur for a couple of decades, came out of the technology industry, worked the job, the 80-hour weeks, and decided to do full-time real estate investing in 2004. And learned a lot on the way. So hopefully I can deliver a lot of nuggets. I would say I'm one that real estate investing is a long-term strategy. And I will start off, it's really, you want to be focused on passive income. If you go back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, I will tell you that that model is the right thing. It's most of us are looking for financial freedom and a lifestyle of time, and a lot of people get trapped and they go down the wrong path. So it really is, it's you're wealthy when your passive income, your mailbox money, is greater than your expenses, and it's not a lot for most of us. It's probably 10 to 25,000 a month. If you can actually solve that problem, which is the end goal, that's how you get financial freedom and a lifestyle. And as Dave Ramsey, who I'm a big fan, probably one of the best seminars I've ever been to, he always says to live like nobody else, you have to live like nobody else. So there's a lot of trapdoors in this real estate business. There's a lot of shiny objects and a lot of nonsense. And it's like, focus on the simple, keep it simple, stupid. Don't reinvent the wheel. Real estate is a long-term play. Focus on passive income, and we'll have fun on this call. And hopefully I can deliver some value to people.
Perfect. That's actually a great point too. And like you and I came from the tech industry as well, and I started real estate when I was in 2008, when I was about before 24. So that's kind of cool because you're actually mentioning the same exact things that I think about every day. Is like, building passive income, creating that wealth, thinking about your income and your expenses. And you just mentioned, Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey, perfect, good examples of really what we should be doing. And the fact that not many people are actually doing it, and you're getting sidetracked by all the different things in life that are bogging you down. So yeah, it'll be great talking about how do we get people on track, and how do we get them to invest in real estate, and how do we make sure. I don't think everyone has heard of Robert Kiyosaki or Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think we all should reread it many times over to really grasp the knowledge of what he's talking about, and it makes logical sense. So first off, too, I like to hear more about your background. You came from tech background, and you're looking at emerging markets. And how did you hone in on getting into real estate investing?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. And also, I have a new book coming out. It's called The Freedom Code. It's not released yet, but it is everything that I've learned. It's more of a faith-based book. It is not about, I say very early on, if you're trying to learn how to wholesale or fix and flip or rehab or lending, it's not the book for you. It's the book, I think it's more about the why, the big why, and the what, and getting really clear on that versus the how. The how is easy. Everybody focuses on, how do I wholesale? How do I fill this contract? How do I find motivated sellers? That you have to start with the big picture of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I think most people in this book, and I'll definitely give everybody a free copy. It's coming out in a handful of weeks. This has been on my bucket list for a decade. Nice. I actually, in the book, I say this book is not to teach you how to go catch a mouse. It's actually how to build the mousetrap to catch all the mice. And it really is. Everybody, if you stand back, all of us, every person on this call and following you live here, everyone's 7 properties, 7 single family, not even apartments, from being completely financially free, wealthy and financially free. And a lot of people get stuck and they want the financial freedom. And I walk through exactly the numbers. By the way, it doesn't have to be $1 million house or $10 million house in San Francisco. It's based on $100,000 property. And it's a model. It wouldn't sell any seminars because everybody wants instant gratification. Everybody wants to make money right now. It's like they want, if they're overweight, they want a little magic pill. They want the fairy dust thing from Big Pharma. We kind of know what that looks like, right? It's no, this is a model of what actually works. And I'm not the inventor of it. My background real quickly. So I run a company called realestateinvestor.com. Been around a long time. We're the largest marketer for real estate investors. I think we've done 85 to 90 million pieces of direct mail for investors and real estate agents all over the country for years. I have a very large phone team that actually does all the follow-up, all the stuff. A lot of us are like, how do we find deals that are not listed on the MLS? And it's like, oh, you have to go direct to the seller. Well, how do you do that? So I have an entire team of over 100 people all over the world that actually, we have software, and then we have services, which are experts that do all the work. They pull the lists, they do the cold calling, leads come in, automatic emails go out, and then a phone team that calls, screens, and qualifies. That's called realestateinvestor.com.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a passion of mine, but it really started as a means to an end, because at the end of the day, here's for real estate investors. The money's made on the purchase of the property. It's finding the right asset. And actually, I always tell people, don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the cash flow. So it's a widget. And especially, in any business, it doesn't matter what it is. I like real estate because it's a physical asset. It's everywhere, right? It's not like buying a stock where in real estate, if the property is worth $1, you can actually buy it for $1.85. If you're buying a stock, it's worth $1 and you're paying $37 to $100 of make-believe money that somebody in Wall Street is, it's all, to me, it's organized gambling. So I like physical assets, and also real estate has all the benefit. Warren Buffett says it best. A lot of people, I want to stand back. This will probably, sometimes it's a shock and awe. A lot of people call themselves real estate investors, and they're not, okay? A real estate investor, according to Warren Buffett, is somebody that has money. They buy a physical asset that happens to be real estate. It could be an apartment or a shopping mall like I'm sitting in front of doing this podcast. It could be a single family property. They buy it, and they have 2 things that matter. Leverage. It's a finance game, and it's leverage. We're leveraging other people's money, might be your own, right, for a particular return, or right. And then the leverage is not just the money, but it's also other people. So every business in America or in the world is also based on those principles of leveraging finance or money, right? Where you can borrow money and you can use it to accelerate and you get the velocity of money. But you also are leveraging people, other people's time, other people's resources, other people's experience. And so what happens for a real estate investor, they have money. Warren Buffett says this. They have money, they buy a physical asset, and then they hold it for the long haul, right? And they take all the advantages of that asset, including the tax advantages. And it's called, the acronym is called IDEAL, IDEAL. You can look it up on the internet. It'll come up really fast. It's interest. You have a spread. You have depreciation. There's equity buildup. That's typically, if you have a renter, they're paying down the mortgage, right? You're putting somebody in there and they're paying down the mortgage. So every month that's going into your bank account like an ATM. Depreciation. And then the A was appreciation, and you get some tax advantages as well. So now a lot of people, they don't do that. They're more of a real estate business operator because they don't necessarily have money. So they get in and they start going down. They go to a seminar. They get excited. I'm going to do wholesaling. I'm going to do fix and flip. I'm going to do apartments or whatever it is. Well, here's the thing. That's a real estate business operator, not an investor. It's an operator. That's a business. And a business takes a CEO. Okay. And it's a business model. And I do that too. I love wholesaling. But every business, I always say, every business needs a CEO. And if you're the CEO doing $10 an hour work, you're going to have a $10 bank account. You have to run it as a business. Okay. So you just have to be super clear. A lot of people think they're real estate investors. It's like, no, it's a one-time transaction. Do some work, get paid. Got to go now do some more work. As a real estate investor, you want a lifetime of passive income. So just to kind of back up a little bit, there's 3 buckets that everybody should be thinking about day one, okay? Whether you're just getting started or not. There's cash now, there's cash flow, and there's cash later, to simplify it. Cash now is do some work, get paid. That's wholesaling, it's rehabbing, it's fix and flip. You know, you buy something, you do some stuff, and then you make money, and then you got to go do it again. That's a job. It's a job, just like working for anybody else. It's job stands for just over broke. All right?
Right. Yep.
All right. So that's cash now. There's cash flow that comes from rental income, right? But and you don't get the big pop. It's not the cash now, but it's cash flow for forever. And then cash later is the other bucket, and that's typically from things like appreciation that we're going to talk about today, and then also the equity buildup by paying off the mortgage. So every one of us as a real estate investor, you don't want to look at just wholesaling. Oh, I'm a wholesaler. Oh, I'm a fix and flipper. Oh, I'm a buy and hold guy. No, you want to look at the 3 buckets. Every deal, you should be looking at it as a bucket of is this a cash now? Is it cash flow, or is it cash later? And you want to be thinking and working to build all those. Now, I'll tell you how you become wealthy and rich, and that is the cash flow and the cash later. Cash now is purely to make sure that you've got operating capital to pay your staff and pay people for right now. I think the best, like I left, Matthew and everybody, I left corporate world. I went cold turkey. 2004, I was working 80-hour weeks. We had 2 babies. I had a 2-month-old little daughter in 2004. We had a 4-year-old. I was working 80-hour weeks as a senior director of sales for a software startup, making well into the 6 figures. My wife was a brand manager at Robert Mondavi in the wine industry. We went cold turkey with a $700,000 mortgage, by the way, wow, in 2004 to go real estate invest. And I got lost, right? And so I did all this stuff as well. And I think if somebody has a job right now, it's like, what I would say is stay in the job, buy some real estate, 1 or 2 properties a year, buy smart based on what we're talking about today, and do it over a longer period of time. And 3-4 years down the road, you will be on the track for financial freedom. Trying to go cold turkey, it's really easy to get lost. It's really easy to get lost because what happens is people want to, the reason we get into real estate is financial freedom and a lifestyle, right? And passive income. And if you go cold turkey, you're going to create a business, and most people get stuck just trying to make ends meet. And I never see anybody get out of that paradigm. Very few people go from wholesaling to rental properties to apartments. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to start in wholesaling, maybe do a fix and flip, then get into rentals and apartments. I don't think I've seen anybody, maybe a couple of people out of the thousands of people I've coached, ever do that. You want to be strategy first. What kind of life do you want? The why. And sort of okay, what's my progression? And when I'm buying properties, I have a philosophy, Matthew, called keep the best, sell the rest.
Yep.
So if I'm looking and if I'm marketing, I may find 10 properties. I'm going to keep 2 or 3 of them. I'm going to sell or wholesale maybe 3, 4, or 5 of them, because in this market, it's really easy and I bring a bunch of quick cash in, and I don't want those properties. They're crappy properties. I can make some quick money now. And maybe a couple of those deals, I may fix and flip a little bit, or maybe I'll turn them into rental properties as well, or private lending. That's more of an advanced strategy. So anyway, I know I've given you a lot of content. A lot of people are like, what did you just say?
Nah, for those people, they gotta re-listen to it twice, because actually it totally makes sense for me. But I've been here for over 14 years doing it, so I get it. It makes total sense. How do we keep people on track? Because I think over time people get lost, and like you mentioned too, even yourself, even for me, we get lost throughout the time period. Because I think one thing is just society and negativity, and people say, well, you shouldn't be doing this, this, and this, and the economy's changing, houses going to go crashing, booming. Like I bought in 2008. It was a good time to buy, even though the market's changing. But if you found the right areas, the right price points, it made sense. And even today, when you look back, like I should have bought during the crash. That was the best time, even though it was going down still.
Yeah.
But people get lost throughout time, and I think one is staying with motivated people who are on the same path, really finding your why. I don't think a lot of people understand their why. They don't know. They don't forget it. They forget it too, and they don't focus on learning their why because they're scared to like ask themselves why and make that dream come true, right? And you found your reality, and you guys went cold turkey, which is really hard. It took me 8 years in tech while I was doing full-time real estate, full-time tech, 80 plus hours a week to do all of this. And it's a lot of work, but later eventually everyone, we found our why. We started investing more, making better money, right? And getting that passive life. And that passive life is hard to define. A lot of people don't go after it because they're scared, or they don't know who to talk to, or they don't take that action.
Yeah. I've summarized this, and I'll definitely give everybody a phone number. It's a text message. You can text, and you'll be on the list for my free book. It's a faith-based book. It walks through my journey and my background. I come from a real estate background, an entrepreneurial family. My father and my grandfather were both Stanford MBAs and engineers. I was a computer science engineer from UC Davis, all learning the how to work hard. And real estate, it doesn't have to be hard. It has to be smart. And SMART, actually, there's an acronym around it. It's really a goal of like something that's simple, it's measurable, it's actionable, and it's time-based. There's an acronym. You don't have to work hard. So I will, and I'll give that to everybody. I'd love feedback. If it helps you, go on Facebook and tell me, hey, these couple of nuggets really helped. And I've got a lot of tools around it as well. But there are 3 things. If I were, and I've shared this on a lot of stages when I speak, I actually, oh, by the way, there's a how to build a business that works for you in there too. It's an hour-and-a-half presentation. I was speaking in front of 400 people the weekend that COVID hit, where everybody was jumping and leaving quickly to get on the last plane. I was in St. Louis, and that's in there. That as a free little tool kind of thing for you that I did. But if I summarized it, number 1, I would say for everybody, get a CEO coach. If you're making, if you're trying to lose weight, the fastest way to do it is not do it on your own. You get a coach, get a trainer. If you're a professional sports athlete, musician, they all have coaches. If you go and look at Google, right? We come out of the tech world and listen to Eric Schmidt, who he runs Alphabet, which is the parent company, but he was a multi-billionaire. He ran Novell, and Eric Schmidt had a coach, and he actually has a video that he never thought he needed a coach, but he ended up getting Bill Campbell, right, who was the coach for Silicon Valley, and he said that's what made Google. Why? Because a coach is somebody that holds you accountable. They know they know your blind spot, and I have 3 of them. I have a CEO coach. His name's Willie Hooks. He's 74 years old, lives in Silicon Valley, and he's one of those guys that knows my blind spot. And I get on the phone with him, and he helps me. So having a coach is really important. Because that's going to be somebody that's going to really help you map out what your why is. My why is a 3-page document, and I've been updating it for a decade.
Nice.
I'll walk through a few of those if you want in a few minutes. It's not hard to do, but it's absolutely essential. The second thing is to be in masterminds and to be with like-minded people that are smarter than you. I'm in a bunch of them. These are, it's lonely being a real estate entrepreneur, CEO, real estate person, because we're living in a world where most people work for the man. They work a job. And so you want to be associated with other people like you, where you're working and sharing information. I found that has actually been the thing that's like launched me more than anything. A coach, and then masterminds. And then the third is you want to follow a business model that works. It's the best practices. So a lot of people, they get into real estate and they try to reinvent the wheel. There's nothing new under the sun in real estate. Everything has already been figured out. So you want to find what works and then follow it exactly. And then once you start perfecting it and it's working for you, then you can make it better and manipulate it. But a lot of people, they like, for instance, people get into this business and it's like, you want to hire somebody to go do this particular thing like marketing. And then everybody gets in and says, oh, I'm going to do it myself. Everybody says, don't do it yourself. Hire a $10 an hour resource to go send out postcards or make phone calls or hire a salesperson. Everybody's like, well, I'm going to do it myself. It's brain damage. It's a trap, because you're not following the best practice. You want to write a check. This business is based on leverage. You want to find somebody else that can do it and then write them a check for it. And you get massive leverage, right? As a real estate professional, entrepreneur, our time, the value of our time is more important than anything else. It's like, if people really knew, like, as our time is worth somewhere between $250 to $1,000 an hour. If you look at how much you want to have in your bank account in a year and how many hours a week you want to do it, there's a simple formula that'll tell you what your hours are worth. So if you're doing any work that's not that number, like it might be, I'll give you a simple math. We're engineers, so most of your followers are probably like us too. So if you wanted to have $500,000 in your bank account at the end of the year, you want to do 40 hours of work to do that. You run the math, that's $250 an hour. Okay, just take the number of hours per week, right? Times 12 or times 52, divide it by the number of dollars, and there you go. So if you're doing anything that's not valued at $250 an hour, you're not going to have the money at the end of the year. So if somebody's doing postcards, that's a $10 an hour work. So what you want to do is you want to hire somebody else to get leverage. And one of the things that I show people is that you could take a job like making phone calls to sellers, right? Calling sellers, cold calling, whatever, $10 an hour work. If you just replaced it with a $10 an hour person, you'd get 12 and a half weeks at 40 hours a week of your life back, that you could then go do the money-making activities, hiring people, raising money, negotiating bigger deals. So anyway, that was the third thing, which is you want to follow the best practice of something that already works. So those are the three things. The next thing I'll say is education without implementation is just expensive entertainment. So a lot of people, they do a massive amount of podcasts, they read a lot of books, they spend a lot of money on courses, and they don't do anything. They just it's expensive entertainment. So whatever you learn, you want to implement. And what I found is if you want to go learn a particular thing, like buying an apartment, or you want to buy like I love Airbnb right now. I love buying single family properties and turning them into an Airbnb. We can even chat about that if you want, or maybe on another podcast. But like I'm closing on one up in Sonora right now that we're picking up, turnkey, 1.8 acres. And it's got a great cash-on-cash return. We're buying it for cash, going in with my in-laws. And super easy. It's all turnkey. But I love that model. But you want to go and find an Airbnb course so you kind of understand the basics. And then you just focus on that and make it work. Don't buy Airbnb and then how to do asset protection and how to build a 401k and infinite banking and apartments. It's not a best. You don't want to do all that. You want to pick one thing, learn it, go do it, make money at it, get better at it, and then add the next arsenal, right? So don't, and if you're going to do single family versus apartments are two completely separate business models. So you don't want to do both of them simultaneously. Imagine if it's like, oh, I'm going to start Google, Starbucks, or a coffee shop and an athletic store. It's like nobody would do that. You gotta figure one and make it work.
Unless you're Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a whole. I don't know. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I don't even know what that is. But anyway, go ahead.
You're absolutely right. I think, yeah, coming back to like, even in our experience in 14, 20 years, you see the fact that, yeah, really defining what you want is the hardest part, like finding your why and finding what you want to focus on. We easily get distracted by all the shiny optics. Everyone's selling different courses, gurus, products out there, all different styles, saying theirs is the best.
Yeah.
All of them work, to be honest. All of them work. It just which one works best for you, your personality type, your location, and your price point, right?
Yeah.
And then drilling in on what you like to do, because if it's not fun, you're not going to really want to do it. Do you really want to work hard in wholesaling, fix and flips, BRRRR, or you want to do Airbnbs or multi-units or single family? You have to make a decision and really understand why you're doing it before you jump in. Just because one person's doing it really well doesn't mean you're going to do really well. It just depends on where you're at in life and that location. But location-wise, you can buy anywhere, right? Anywhere in the world if you want to. But you really have to drill down on what you want. For me, I love multi-unit buildings. I just it's a necessity. People need to live somewhere, right? Airbnb is another great one, because you can do that, but you have to really understand the models, the vacancy factors, your numbers, see what makes sense for you, and the price point, and whether it's local or if it's out of state. And I think, over time, like we went through all these different mistakes and things we learned, and like really, I think it comes back down to really defining what you want. And like you mentioned too, like educating yourself and executing on that one thing is the most important, because even for myself, I've done everything, but is that the best way to do it? Probably not.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I have a 22-year-old daughter. She just graduated from college. She loves services, so she has this huge heart for helping people, and she has a psychology degree. She realizes that her passion, I've always told her, I'm like, Haley, a lot of people are like, oh, become a doctor, become an engineer, go Silicon Valley, go to Wall Street. And I'm a little bit different. I've said, find something that you're passionate about and what you're uniquely gifted at, and go for that, because you could have an artist, and there's incredibly successful artists. And so what she's realized, what she's passionate about and what she's uniquely qualified probably won't produce her the type of money that she wants. So she's gotten into real estate. She realizes that real estate is going to be the thing that gives her the financial freedom that she wants. So and then all of a sudden her job is more of her passion, right? It's not the thing that she even has to worry about. So so she's learning from the ground up around real estate. And here's, for a lot of you that are fairly new, it's like, focus on one. Don't be focused on 100. Focus on one great deal and get that across the goal line. So what she's working on right now is there's kind of a two-pronged approach. The first is she's learning real estate. So we're picking up a property. She's like, Dad, I don't have any money. I've got $25,000 in my bank account. She's saved up. Amazing. Everybody else has college debt, right? She has no debt, and she's got 25 grand. And I said, Haley, here's the deal. In real estate, if you find the deal, if you find a great deal, the money will be there. I'm like, for instance, you have family that will actually invest with you, right? If you have the deal, I'm just telling everybody that's following us right now, if you have a great deal, the money will flow. You always want to be raising money. That's a whole nother, and that's actually a lot easier than you think. So you find the deal, and then you learn how to basically make it perform. And don't fall in love with the real estate, fall in love with the cash flow. So it's like, we're going to go in and we're going to find, we've got a property, we're closing on it in 6 days. And it's like, and also we want to leverage. So we're finding this property. We know that we can rent it on Airbnb. We don't want the long term. It's up by a ski resort. And a great place. So I'm like, we'll go out. We found an Airbnb property manager who's the best one. And I'm like, we'll interview them. And then you'll learn how to market it and turn it into cash flow. And we've already run the math with a 50% vacancy, by the way, still does a 7.5% cash on cash return, which is pretty fantastic. Right? So it's just like, you just learn how to do one. She could have done apartments, but she really likes the idea of single family. I talked about two-prong because her first one is to do that. And then the second one is she'll buy a property that's a value add, and then she'll rent it out because she's still single. She'll rent it out to a bunch of roommates, turn it into a free asset for her, right? Learn how to make some money at it. And then she'll roll that into the next one. And I've also told her, I'm like, Haley, you really never want to sell anything. You want to keep real estate. I regret every property I've ever sold.
Yep.
So I'm like, you always want to roll. Real estate is, you get the advantages of the 1031 exchange, but real estate should, once you have it, you never want to get rid of it. Because money sitting in a bank account doesn't do anything for us. It's all about acceleration and leveraging. It's an asset. You can do so many things. Once you understand the value of money, of what you can do, you can use it. It could be sitting in a bank account. You could turn it into an infinite banking system, right? You can use that as collateral. I've actually used the bank account as collateral, not even using it. It's just it's collateral for buying something else, or So anyway.
That's a lot of fun too, and I'm glad you're teaching your daughter too. At especially at the younger ages, it's better for them to start now. They don't have any fear. They don't know yet. They're learning, but then you're guiding them along the way. You're a coach, you're a mentor, you're a dad, but you're helping them understand the power of real estate and the tax benefits, the depreciation, the value, the asset, and even for themselves. Imagine that passive income for the rest of their life, and if you can use that towards college tuitions, use it for future freedom, and like you mentioned too, now she has a choice of creating her job as a passion rather than having it as a job, and she can keep financially growing her wealth through real estate and building up her assets. And I'm sure later she'll teach her kids how to do the same thing that you just gave her in life, the financial freedom, the financial education of value of real estate, right? And that's really, even today, it's really hard to teach people about this. I'm even teaching my kids, my 5-year-old, my 18-month-old, I'm teaching them about real estate now, understanding that benefit and like using their money to invest in real estate now. And they can use that for whatever they want.
Absolutely. I wouldn't do justice. I'm on a lot of podcasts, and I will also share for a lot of people who are out there getting into real estate. Real estate is also cyclical. So real estate is a cycle. It's typically been a 7-year cycle. We happen to be at year 13. All right. It's been a 7-year cycle for over 100 years. And the cycles are very similar, including this one. So for probably 4 years, I've been talking about these cycles. And it's not just natural supply and demand, by the way. Usually the end of the cycle is a boogeyman event. So we had 9/11, we had the 2008 collapse, we had the oil embargo. It's always been some sort of boogeyman event. I just call it that. That's my term, what have you. But it means an artificial event. So I think this event is called COVID. Mm-hmm. So I want to tell everybody that we are at the end of a cycle. And you want to be very watchful right now, because I've been around. I was a licensed agent when I turned 18. That was 1987. My parents had a brokerage in Piedmont in the Oakland Hills. And so the reason I share that is that we're in a super, super hot, crazy market right now. It's euphoric. And when the barber or the hairdresser or the checkout person at the grocery store is talking real estate, usually you know it's the end of the cycle, okay? So be very watchful of what you're investing in. Keep the best, sell the rest. When you're buying, don't just buy because you got to buy. You know, the smartest people on the planet are probably bankers, right? The Rothschild family behind the Federal Reserve, our money system, and Rockefeller, and they basically, their thing is you want to buy low, sell high. You want to buy when there's blood in the streets. I say that's not my term, but right now you want to be conservative because we are at more of a peak of the market. So when you buy, you want to make sure you're buying right. You want to make sure that you can sustain. So in a market correction, you can sustain for about 18 months. Because some people in this correction, especially on the coastal areas, when the market turns, which will happen, we will see a situation where some people will get hit really hard, like 2008. Now, with that, I think we're going to see massive inflation. So if you can buy and then sustain, real estate is probably going to be one of the best assets that any of us can have. I can see there's inflation means prices are going to skyrocket like we're seeing at the grocery store. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, say in Florida, I could see that house in 10 years being $3 million. The math, it's the way our financial system works. So again, be really watchful now, buy really well, be able to sustain through a downturn and not panic, followed by you want to be in real estate. So like what I'm doing right now is just what I'm saying. We're buying very, very smart. I think there's going to also be an opportunity because it's so hard right now. It's a seller's market almost everywhere, that there are deals, but just we're finding really smart deals. And then we're going to plan on holding them for the long haul, right? Not just fix and flip. A lot of people that are buying and rehabbing, there's going to be a point in time where some of these rehabbers may get stuck on rehab projects and go bankrupt. So I think there's going to be an opportunity to buy in better areas as well and upgrade their properties when other people are suffering. And then you want to hold for the long haul because rents will go up. It's just it's the nature of real estate. So I'm super excited. I'm also doing a lot of hard money lending. I love hard money. I lend my money out on smart deals in first position and get a nice return. And that's a great hedge. So, and all this is in my book, by the way.
Nice.
Everything. If you guys, I'll give you.
Yeah, what's the number?
If you want, you can text this number.
Mm-hmm.
Just put Matthew into the text, but the phone number, just text this number and you'll get a link back, and you'll get some free bonuses from me. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, some of my best stuff, including how to find motivated sellers in this market. But text message this number, 925-320-0575.
Hey, 1 second.
Yeah. 925-320-0575. Put Matthew in there because it'll put you on the book list. Okay. It's going to be coming out in, I don't know, another month or two. And you'll get a free copy of it. And, and then if you're, what I would also say is if you are looking, if you need more help, if you're looking for, ways to find motivated sellers or a phone team or whatever, you can always check out realestateinvestor.com. Got a lot of help there, and then hit us up and hit me up on Facebook. And if there's anything I can help you with or our team can help you with, just let us know.
Perfect. So, for example, text Matthew to 925-320-0575 to get access to the freedom code and much more. And, from Gary, and we'll, go from there on that topic and really take a look at that and listen in and read about all of the great things you gave. Even in this episode here, the first 40 minutes, this is like you gave a lot of really good golden nuggets for people to, really listen to. listen to and hone in on. Like, for example, we're already August 26th in 2021. The year's gone by super fast, and we really have to think about, like, what's our why? What are we doing here? Like, are you gonna let life pass by? Are you gonna really start executing? And you really need to have a really good coach, mentors, be in a good mastermind, network with people, and stay in the mindset, because really we easily get distracted by life, COVID, everything going on, and we lose focus. But when you stay with the right people, you do tend to focus more, and you do it. And when you write it down and create that vision board and the mission and the why, and you put it on the board, it actually works. I actually set missions. Check this out, Gary. 25 years old. When I started at 21, I started doing IT when I was 18 years old. So I was IT tech at 18, making good money while going to college, right? But my mission was this. At 25, buy my first single family house. I bought my first house in Sunset when I was 24. I put a goal for 30, get married, buy a multi-unit, and I bought my multi-unit in San Francisco, 2-unit building in San Francisco at 29. And then goals at 35, goals at 40, and I'm doing a development project right now, going to be done at 40 years old, and then go into big multi-units out of state. And now we're doing that, and it's going well. But if you don't write it down, you don't do it, nothing happens. And you don't mastermind and be with the right people with the same mindset and focusing and guiding you along the way with right coaches, it doesn't happen. It's not easy. Like, we all went through a lot of mistakes. My mistakes were I didn't listen to my coach in the beginning. I was young. I was ignorant. I could do it better. I reinvented the wheel over and over and over, and I bought all shiny objects. What a waste of time.
Yeah.
Really listen into the experience. And so now, even as I get older, I think about it like, hey, you're older. You don't know. It's different now. Things change. I was young, ignorant. But when you realize, hey, they've lived it, they've done it, they went through all the bad stuff, why not just skip it, bypass it? Don't reinvent the wheel. Real estate is the same thing over and over everywhere. Just start doing it, honing in on the one thing you want to be in, really learn it and learn from everyone around you, and get there faster by learning from our mistakes.
Amen. Gosh, great summary, Matthew. And everything that you're saying is really, it is the success. It's the success plan. And it was Berkshire Hathaway. It was, what is his name? COO, Unger. He's 96. He said, the question came up. William Buffett was there. I was actually at their shareholder conference.
Nice.
And he said, it's a simple thing. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
Don't overthink this. Don't, if buy one property. If you're brand new, it's like over the next 12 months, you're going to find one good property. Focus on that. Make $1,000 a month in cash flow, 500, whatever the simple math is. Be conservative, right? Don't be speculators. A lot of people always look at the upside. No, be conservative. Do this for the long haul, because that is a pattern of success. That's how you get financial freedom. That's how you have a life. And it really is not hard. I mean, there's reasons why one of the top trainers in real estate he was a mechanic. So anybody can really do this, but you do have to follow those simple paths. Keep it simple, stupid.
Absolutely right. And before we wrap up the show, I actually want we want to talk about your platform too, REI Vault, and like, how did you guys get into the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies, and like, what is your platform about?
Yeah, and we renamed it. It was REI Vault for a long time. It's realestateinvestor.com.
Okay.
I've owned that for a long time. I bought the company years and years ago, but we renamed it. And so it's really realestateinvestor.com is really it's like so many people struggle in this business. I wanted to build a community. I wanted the right software. I wanted the right services, meaning people that could actually do all the hard work for all of us, smarter, faster, cheaper, and then a community of like-minded people. People, we're all out there. It's like, how do you differentiate between somebody that really has stuff that works versus not? So realestateinvestor.com is really all-encompassing for the real estate entrepreneur that's looking for financial freedom, looking for a life. They come to us, and we're with them the entire journey, whether they're brand new or somebody that's doing 50 to 100 deals, a year, and they want to do it better and they want to have a life. There's a lot of people that are, they're working really hard, and yeah, they're having some success, but they know that there's a better way of doing it. And then they come to us, we put together a plan. We say, hey, based on what you're trying to accomplish and what your goal is, and we help them with that, then we actually do it for them. So we have software, we've got services, and then we got a community, we've got training and education. Like a lot of people, I have an advanced sales course on how to actually really interact with sellers and do great deals. So it's a month-long course in compression coaching that actually we give away to all of our platform users. That it's like, hey, you're going to get deals. You don't really know how to talk to sellers. Here's how you build a relationship with them. Here's how to make an offer. Here's how to make it win-win and evaluate. So it's a course that we have. So we have a lot of that stuff. You can always go to realestateinvestor.com, interact with our team. I have a podcast as well that's been going for years. And it's, at the end of the day, I think when you've been doing this business a long time, just like you, Matthew, it's like, how can we, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've had successes and mistakes. How can we help others that are like-minded not make the same mistakes? And so our whole business at realestateinvestor.com is how can we make a measurable difference that impacts lives, and how can we help others that are like-minded? And it's a win-win for everybody.
Nice. I love it. How do people reach out and like join your community, or is it through your coaching and your
we have a Facebook group. We've got a community there. You can go to realestateinvestor.com. You can join us on Facebook, and we have a membership site. There's a free membership site, and then there's a low cost sort of thing where we've got like Burr Method is a perfect example. I've got one of the top guys in the entire country every single week that's actually doing coaching and training. And I think it's actually a free session that most people don't even know about. It's like lots of resources that you can tap into. So yeah, check us out, realestateinvestor.com. Go to our Facebook page, realestateinvestor.com. You can hit me up on Gary Boomershine on any of the sites that I'm at. I'm not super active because I'm still out. I'm still out hunting for deals. And in fact, I just talked to 2 sellers yesterday. Older lady, 85 years old, who wants to sell owner financing.
Oh, nice.
She wants 100% owner financing because 85-year-old lady, she has an 8-month-old great-granddaughter that she's the guardian for. And she wants to set up her great-granddaughter to be taken care of because she's 85. And so I was able to get on the phone yesterday, and I'm going to buy an incredible property. It already has a renter in there, and she wants to do 100% owner financing. She doesn't even want a down payment because she has so much capital gains, and she doesn't need the money. She just wants to set up a scenario with her granddaughters taken care of for the rest of her life. And so I'm building an offer for her to do that. So real estate's awesome. And if we can help you guys, let me know.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad you're helping that old lady too and making that structure. So you're creating a really good deal structure. We can always talk about that in the next time. But really appreciate you being here today and really providing that value. I think everyone, even for myself, got to re-listen to this twice because you got to really understand, finding the motivation and taking action. I think the number one keyword for this podcast is taking action and doing it now rather than waiting, and finding that one thing and getting rid of all the distraction and noises and just focusing and making it happen and putting that vision together will actually make it happen.
Definitely. Awesome.
Cool.
Matthew,
thank you so much for
thank
being on the show.
It was really fun, and thank all of your loyal listeners, and look forward to meeting you in person at some point, Matthew.
Yeah, we got to catch up soon. But everyone out there, be sure to check us out on the Truth About Real Estate podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.